Okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of Katunkwit Chronicles. I'm here with Callahan again, and our guest host, and along with our guest, Joe Marino of South Kingstown, Rhode Island. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, how you doing?
Great to have you here today. So, have you been over to Katunkwit?
I've been there.
Yeah. Okay. So you've had a little bit of time on the island,
Yeah.
and did you get your permission to return?
I can go back.
Good. Well, it's a good little place, and we like what's going on over there. So we've got some off-site casting, I would call it. I met Joe just recently, and we had a great time visiting as we traveled around the track about 50 times. It was just a good conversation. So when you're walking together, you can't walk outside now. Yesterday was a decent day, but did you get outside yesterday?
No, I did not. But when we walked, it made the time go by faster. So I kind of enjoyed that walk.
I had about 48 laps that day. Because it's a twelfth of a mile around this track, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. But you go by time, but I always count the laps.
I'd lose track pretty quickly.
Yeah, me too.
Callahan, are you doing the walk track now?
Oh, yeah. I'm on my pad. I got my pad at home, so I'm doing that in the cold weather because if I don't do my daily walks, I'm a wreck.
Can you, is it something that's, does it have some sort of incline to it?
Oh, yeah. Yep. You can put it up on the incline and, get your workout in.
You ever worked on one of those?
Treadmill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
If I have to, I would.
Yeah, I prefer being outside. I mean, yeah.
Well, it's good to do anything at this point, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm scheduled to play golf this afternoon, so looking forward to that.
Bring a jacket.
I just dress for it and play. I was a fisherman, so.
Oh, yeah.
Joe doesn't know that, actually, but I was a professional fisherman for a number of years. The audience out there in Idaho and Colorado and everybody knows all about my fishing experiences. So you've been to Katunkwit. What'd you find interesting about our little town?
There's a little cafe over there. I kind of visited and, actually played in. So it's a nice place,
Well, that's something I really wanted to discuss was your experience playing bass. Now, you picked up the bass after a lot of other
No, I did that.
experiences.
I picked that up when I was about 12 years old, I guess. My father bought one home, and he didn't know how to play, and I didn't know how to play, but I used to listen to, back in the days, they had records, right?
Yeah, right.
So I used to listen to records.
Just for the younger audience, records are made of vinyl,
yeah,
and
they're plastic and
they
little
scratch
grooves
easily.
Yeah. But I used to listen to records, and I tried to emulate what I, heard on the record. So, like Jimi Hendrix, Chicago,
Wow.
Grand Funk. You know what I mean? That's
awesome.
what I like to
Grand
play.
Funk.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah.
So I learned I could play by ear, but I can't read music.
Yeah, I can't read music either, and I can't play anything, but I can sing a little bit. So maybe I'll do something for you at some point with the gang. But yeah, you play at the Katunkwit Cafe, right? So,
Yes.
Yeah, right on Maine,
Yeah.
Katunkwit, Maine, and that's a pretty nice venue for.
It is.
People like to dance.
They're knowledgeable about music there. That's what I found out. You know what I mean?
I like that.
As soon as you play, they hear something, they're right up dancing, and it's a good place.
It is a good place. And the people not only knowledgeable there, they seem to appreciate the band,
Right.
mostly probably because there's no cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That helps a lot, right? So we would spend a night out doing something else, and then this was when we were a little younger, myself and Eva, and then we'd hit the cafe, and we were in there jamming pretty good, getting breaking a few ligaments and tearing up the cartilage really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what dancing is for me. It's an experience. It's more like athletic experience of expression. I like to dance. I think I married my wife because of the dancing.
Yeah, she's probably a good dancer.
She is. She showed me some stuff. She showed me some moves that just put me over the top. I think Callahan knows all about that.
Oh yeah, yep.
So you not only played bass, but all the while since you were 12, but you had a football career. Because now people can't see it here, but white as the door and had to duck when he came in. So Joe is a former professional football player, played with the New York Jets football team.
Yep.
So you had a stint with them, albeit short. You ran into some people a lot of times training.
A few times, yeah.
That must have been like what an experience. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
After college, I was projected to be a high draft choice, but I had knee surgeries and put my stock down a little bit. But I was a free agent with the Dallas Cowboys first. I went to Dallas first.
Okay.
I went through their training camp and I got let go. It was tough because at that time, Harvey Martin and Randy White, the season before, they were MVPs of the Super Bowl, which never happens.
Wow.
You get two defensive linemen.
Yeah.
That was MVP, right? So anyway, I'm trying to break through that, and I didn't break through, and they let me go, and the Jets picked me up. So I played that following year with the Jets, and as it would be, they drafted Marty Lyons and Mark Gastineau.
Mark Gastineau, right? Lions. Two Hall of Famers,
Two Hall
right?
of Famers, right? So,
Wow.
I was leaving two Hall of Famers to go to two Hall of Famers in between, So anyway, they let me go, and after that year, and I went up to Canada and played in Saskatchewan, Rough Riders.
Wow.
So I played up there, and I came back, and Tampa Bay was hounding me. And I could have stayed in Canada, but I said, I want to go where it's nice and warm to Tampa. And I was down there, and I was on injured reserve, and I was just like, at that point in time, I just said, I'm kind of done with the football thing.
Yeah.
But, it was a good experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I did it, and one of the things I wanted to do when I was a kid, but,
Yeah, it takes a toll, though, right? So
Oh, yeah.
every day in training, like, we don't get we get the Sunday thing.
Yeah,
We see people playing out there and the speed of play. We talk about that when we were walking, and we're walking now. We're not running at all, by the way. But the speed of those linemen, they're running like 4.6, 4.
Oh, yeah.
Those numbers.
It's unbelievable.
That's so fast, by the way, for those of you that never run a 40. 40 yards, 4.6. It's very quick. The running backs are running 4 3s and 2s, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like getting hit by a truck, man.
Oh, is it? When those guys come through?
Sometimes,
Well, they probably feel the same or worse.
Yeah.
But they're going so fast.
It is.
Yeah. Did you play against who were the best players that the running backs that you had a chance to play against, either in practice or during
Well,
games?
when I was in Dallas, Tony Dorsett was there.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's cool.
He wasn't bad.
And they had a fullback, Newton was his name, right? Played against Chicago. Walter Payton was there.
Oh, my
I mean?
Wow.
And,
Wow, those guys weren't bad at all.
No.
No,
Hall of
but they-
Famers,
yeah,
too.
But
And so, like when you're training with these guys, right?
yep.
I got to put this. I got to put my phone to bed. Make sure that we don't have an altercation with the phone at some point. I put it on airplane mode because I don't even know anything about that. And I think so we're at training now. We're playing, and you lay off these guys.
During practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't.
You just get them in the hold, or what do you do? Put them in.
Yeah. You don't really
Lay them out.
Yeah. No. I mean, I remember we had a scrimmage with the Jets and with the Giants actually. Phil Simms was the quarterback, and you don't want to hit the other team's quarterback. They got him in a red jump thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Vest they call it.
But you're trying to make the team
you're
too.
you're trying to do the best you can, and I just somebody when I rushed the quarterback, someone kind of pushed me, and I fell into Phil Simms. right?
Yeah.
And so I think Bill Parcells was over there, the coach over there in the Giants, and they got mad at me for hitting the quarterback, but I didn't, you know what I mean? And someone pushed me into him. Like, what are you going to do? But yeah, you don't try to kill each other in practice. You know what I mean?
Don't play the game before the game.
Right.
You know?
But then there's people trying to take your job all the time,
Oh,
too.
it's always, yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's when football becomes not as fun as college or high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it is you're always looking over your shoulder. Who they draft this year? You know, who they picking up in the middle of the season? What are they going to do? You know what I mean?
So you were at Oregon?
Idaho State.
Idaho, sorry. I make that mistake twice now. Idaho State. And while you're there, you're the biggest, strongest, fastest.
No.
No? So there were other guys.
Oh, yeah.
Did other guys get drafted?
Other guys, yeah. The Idaho State, we did a thing in our 4 years. I think 13 guys from our team either got drafted or they had a free agent tryout.
Whoa.
So, and
That's
That's
huge.
a lot, yeah.
Think about that.
In 4 years, And you think a little Idaho State, and not everybody, of course, made the team, but at least they had a shot to make it. You know what I mean?
Joe, I coached professionally soccer, different game, same name, football. However, I coached that for 13 years at the University of Rhode Island. And by the way, we're at a different studio today. We're at the University of Rhode Island's launch lab, and we're in a different studio. You might hear the different sounds or something going on here that's different, but perhaps not. And it's kind of exciting to be sort of on the road,
Yeah.
Hey, we got off the island.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was nice. It was easy to meet here and get this going with Callahan today.
Absolutely.
So lost my train of thought. Oh, so coaching professionally. There were, we were coaching Division I athletes, and there were a few players that came to us and tried out over the years. Two players that came on as red shirts, actually. Not red shirts, but in preseason that we didn't recruit made the team. One of them became captain and won a scholarship. So it was pretty competitive, let's just say that, right? So if you're not recruited, it was tricky to make the team, to say the least. But then there were athletes that were certainly Division I. They had the Division I speed. They had the pace, the understanding of the game from the technical standpoint, from the tactical piece, and from the physical side of it, right? So they might be fast enough and all that. What distinguished the difference between the pros that came through was that fourth component, the psychological component. You couldn't take these guys off. You had to train the other guys up to get mentally where these other guys were.
Right.
So you could take a guy. It was a guy that maybe I can think of one right now. His girlfriend left him that day. It was a serious relationship. And his grandmother died on the same day.
Well,
Tough day, right? So he wants to see me, so we go for a walk through campus. I'm walking right up here, actually, through Quad. And I said, tough time. We're going to get you on a flight, get back to Canada. And he said, no, Coach, I'm going to play. I was like, this is a tough time for you.
Right.
And this is the time you need to be home. Nope, you're going to play. So he played. Nothing. It's all blocked out. Everything else is blocked out. High focus. And, then he went home, did what he needed to do. And so he was able to shut it off, turn it on, what he needed to turn on, and that's it. And that, I thought, was the distinguishing factor between the pros. And then, of course, what we talked about before, at a college level, those players that almost became pros, they were always first-string players. They didn't have the pressure of owning that job. That same player talked to me about his experiences in England, playing in the English leagues, not the Premier League, but below. And he said it was that very thing, that every day somebody's trying to take your job.
Yep.
And you still have to play on a team and share a ball. There's only one ball, right? So, that was an interesting element of it. Did you see that? That's a long question, but did you see that while you were going through in the professional ranks?
Yeah,
And at the college ranks first, and then see, like you got these 13 guys. They're just different.
Yeah. I mean, when I went to college, I didn't, my father was immigrant, from Cape Verde Islands, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I didn't have the really knowledge of sports growing up. I knew I played it, you know what I mean? I liked to play football and that there, but I tried baseball, I played basketball and that there. But I really enjoyed football. So, I didn't know like there were divisions in football, like 1A or 1AA or Division III. I didn't know any of that. I thought like USC could play, URI. You know what I mean? And it's like I didn't know there were different divisions. But anyway, so when I was pretty good in high school. I didn't have the best grades and all that, but I got recruited by a lot of big schools, right? They looked at my grade and said, well, maybe somewhere else.
Okay.
It was tough because I wasn't into the grades that much, but I was a good football player. So I chose Idaho State, and they showed me, actually Bob Griffin, who was a head coach at URI, was the head coach at Idaho State back then.
Great man.
He showed me.
Bob Griffin was such a wonderful man. Let's
Nice
just
guy.
stop there for a second. Just applaud.
Yeah, he took me when a lot of people didn't want me. Let's put it like that. As far as grade wise, he took a chance with me.
Were you able to apply yourself academically as well while you were there? Do okay?
I did.
Yeah, good.
I actually made the dean's list, man.
Oh, that's what I wanted to hear. Good.
All right.
I thought that was the case.
But I mean, to know my background, my father was, like I said, an immigrant. Right? He graduated 8th grade, and so when I was in the 11th grade, he went and got his GED. And we were both studying out the same math book at the time.
Yeah.
Right. And it was my father and I can see this book now, a yellow and green math book.
Yeah.
And so we were both studying out the same book at the kitchen table. But and when Bob Griffin, great guy, when he showed me this film of what they call a mini dome, they play indoor football, right? It was in a dome, right? I saw that and I said, yeah, I'm going there, man, because I didn't want to play in the cold.
In Idaho. And they know cold there, right?
Right.
Ryan, what's the temperature in Idaho at any moment in the winter?
Kind of assume
fall.
it's in the negatives. I would
Yeah.
assume.
It's comparable to here, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like I just didn't want to. He said, I can tell you one thing: you'll never practice in the cold again. I said, I'm going. See you later.
No, that's good. So you're talking about some of these guys that become pros ultimately, and the difference in the way in which they approach training, whatever it is, practice. You call it practice. Soccer, we call it training for some reason. Then and then you have these dudes that are like they're locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. Now I think it's offensive. The way the announcers on the pro football, they call certain players, skilled players. Do you find the same offense? Because I see these dudes that are, big men.
Mm-hmm.
They look pretty skillful to me. The way they're muscling these other fellas around in the defensive tackle, the way you played, or anywhere along the line there.
Yeah, I mean, announcers can make or break you, believe it or not, in football, you know what I mean?
Really?
I think so. I mean, when they talk negatively, the worst one I ever heard was Michael Irvin, believe it or not. You know what I mean? He was a Dallas Cowboy.
He's a player,
Great ball player, but he talked so bad about some players that were like, say, second teamers, you know what I mean? That were like, dude, God blessed you with the ability that you have, you know what I mean? And these guys are playing with the ability that they have. And if the coaches and the administration thinks that they're good enough to be on the team, who are you as a teammate to kind of start knocking guys down?
Yeah, that's an interesting.
I just didn't.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah.
So.
Like, do you like this guy Romo when he announces?
Tony Romo, he's okay. Tom Brady's gotten better though.
He's made a massive.
He's gotten better because when he first came out, man. I'm like, dude, but he's gotten better.
Yeah.
And I think he's more confident in how he talks and what he's
Definitely,
saying.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, I'm sure everybody gets better.
Yeah,
at
you
this
get better.
stuff, right?
You know what I mean? You can't knock him. I mean, he wasn't sure he didn't go to school for announcing football games. You know?
Well, I know he had a lot of concussions too.
Yeah.
So,
But back in the days, who didn't?
yeah.
You know, they'd hold 2 fingers up. You said 3, and he was okay.
Oh no. Oh no. I know. Like, I'm just going back to like. I didn't grow up with soccer. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have played, and I didn't play until I was 13. So I had the opportunity to play football, so I played it, and I really enjoyed. I enjoyed football games. I hated training because the training was ridiculous, right? Youth coaches, they were wonderful men that gave their time and all that. So I have to say that. And then there was a lot of like, cigar smoking on the sidelines, smashing of, clipboards, that kind of thing. You know, for young kids, it didn't seem like it was appropriate, right? But but there was no safety. Like the first day, they determine what you have, in the sack, I guess, and they get a kid over here with a ball, that's me, and then they get the big kid, the biggest, strongest middle linebacker, and I got to run through him, And fortunately, I gave him an equally strong pop, and that that gave me some sort of position on the team. But I'll tell you, it stung, and I remember my head spinning, and I had all those stars and everything. Mm-hmm. And I had my first, not my first concussion, but a concussion that day. And I think it wasn't just me. Like, half the guys got concussions after the first day. I mean, that's not no way to train.
Well, yeah, back in the days, if you seen, I got an old helmet at home. If you see the inside of it, it's barely nothing. You know what I mean? It's like canvas straps, right? And then it would go around. And back in high school, I always would cut the top of my head right here, and it would bleed.
Still scarred, right?
Yeah, and I was cool because it was bleeding, and you hit so hard, it was like a wrestler, you know what I mean? You see the blood, and that happened all the time because it would come down on the bridge of my nose, and the helmets were horrible back then.
And I remember being applauded for hitting so hard.
Oh yeah.
The harder you hit, the more and even in training, like when you're playing with practicing with the other guys, these are your teammates. And I was just, that's what I liked about it. You could smash other people, and
not get in trouble.
There's definitely a collision. It's a contact sport, right?
Oh, yeah,
but it's really a collision sport.
Collision sport.
Yeah, there's a lot of collisions as we're going through. So those are my little miniature experiences with concussions. I mean, football. So what's the typical life in the day now? Well, let's go back a little bit now, because you weren't always a football player. Then you got into there's a period where you didn't. What'd you do between football?
Yep.
And then your role at Providence as a firefighter.
Yeah, when I came back home, I said, okay, now it's time to get serious about life and get a real job and see what I was going to do. So I had worked. I worked at the prison up in Massachusetts for like 5 years. I was what they call a recreation officer. So I used to handle like inmates' recreation in the yard, like they'd play softball and flag football and stuff like that. So I was running that kind of show, right? Okay. Did that for 5 years.
That's favorable. Must have been some conflicts during the games.
I was still an officer in jail. You know what I mean? Just
you didn't play though.
No, not there.
No, they like to take it out on the. It's not like the movies, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like the movies, I should say.
Well, a couple of times they closed the yard down when I was out there, and that was, definitely scary. But, and then
they close it down, and you're in the middle of it.
In the middle of it, man. You're standing, I was up under the tower, man. The guys, you got the shotguns out.
And you look a lot different than the other folks, though. Hopefully, except you're much bigger.
Uniform. Yeah, we had like a sweatpant type uniform that they could tell. So.
Were you at Walpole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They call it Cedar Junction now, I think. That's the name of it.
That's a better name.
Yeah, well, there's always going to be Walpole, let me tell you something.
It's no Cedar Junction.
You can name it whatever you want.
It's still a rough place, I'm sure.
Yeah, so.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
No, but I mean, I did 5 years here, and the ironic thing was when I played football in New York, I met a guy who had a friend in Rhode Island, and we went to play. I think we were playing the Steelers or something. And usually, like, linemen sit together, but I was sitting by myself, and he sat down next to me because he was a rookie, and had been there for a year. So we sat down, we started talking. It was ironic that he said, like, I got a friend in, this and that. And I said, yeah, where? He says, I got a friend, And I said, well, here's the deal, right? In this business, you could be here today, going this afternoon, right? So, like, take my number down. I said, if you ever come to Rhode Island, look me up. So about a year later, he did, and we became friends, and he he got on the fire department in Providence. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, Joe, come on, man. I said, so I took the test with him and all that, and I said, I really don't want to do that, man. I as a kid, I always wanted to be a firefighter, but to be honest with you, one day I seen this guy, he come out of a fire, and he was, like, soaking wet, right? And it was like in the wintertime. I said, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I played football in the winter. I don't want to do that. Right?
There's icicles coming down the side.
And I said, you know what? I took the test, and I got right up to like a week before. I said, you know what? I'm going to stay at the prison, And he goes, oh, man, come on. He goes, okay. So, like 2 years later, he goes, hey, Joe, they're having another school, man. You gotta take that test again. I said, you know what? I will. And I had to go. I did the whole thing all over again. I took it, and that's how I became a firefighter.
That's great. And then ultimately became a union steward. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a union rep for 14 years
Nice.
in Providence.
Yeah.
So you represented the rest of the firefighters.
Yeah.
And at the time, were there a significant number of women firefighters as well?
They were just starting to come on. The school, I think, before me had 2 women. And the school I was in had 4, I think.
Okay. So now there's a significant number of women firefighters. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's great. So so you're serving as a steward at a rep, I should say.
Yeah.
And you came across a number of different political figures, one including Buddy Cianci.
Yeah.
Okay, and I came across Buddy Cianci too.
Yeah.
And only at a party.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And he was telling me all about how he's going to change the rivers and all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, right. Come on, give me a break, will you? Because at the time he had lost all favor with everybody, even the Republican Party, and we were at this fancy party, and there were a lot of people that were Republican there. And wealthy people, and they didn't have anything. They had no interest in me either. James Allen from Katunkwit's not making the scene. Let's just say that. Grew up a lot poorer and in difficult situation. So my circumstance was, I was out there. So the only person that he could talk to, and he wouldn't stop talking, was me. And it was late at night, and we spoke for an hour, and he was telling me all about that stuff. And to some degree, I think it happened. I'm not entirely certain. I think it happened despite of him sometimes. I know your opinion might be different because you came across him at a different time when he was, you suggested that he might be appeasing the firefighters at that time, which is cyclical, right? You see, sometimes the firefighter union might have a better week negotiation, and then other times not. Right?
Yeah. We've negotiated with him, but we had went at the time 6 years without a contract, and the job was like in upheaval. Guys were like, we haven't had a raise in 6 years. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's a long time.
And it's like, so.
Price of stuff goes up, by the way.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
6 years, yeah.
But he used that as not like a weapon, but to kind of keep us in line, like, you know what I mean? And
that's not right.
It was some tumultuous times, like dealing with contracts with him. And then when he was on the way out, he knew he was going. He didn't go to Walpole, but wherever he went, he kind of negotiated a contract that was like out of control. Like it was like, so we took it.
He needed some friends.
And then when Angel Tavares became the mayor, we had to renegotiate because it was like he said, "Oh, this is not a hurricane. This is a hurricane. It's a storm. Number 5 hurricane or something, right?" So we didn't renegotiate with him, and he actually was he was a good mayor. You know what I mean?
So you got through. Yeah, he was a good mayor. I agree. And then you got through 3 mayors. Is that what you worked with?
I worked for 3: Buddy, Angel Tavares, and David
Lord.
Cicilline.
Oh, David.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cicilline came after that.
Yeah. So you're. Let's talk a little bit about the experiences as a firefighter. Now that's an interesting part of life. I imagine there's some things that happened that were really awful, and then
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
you walk into a burning building.
Yeah, you see the good and the bad, man. You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
You know?
I mean, there certainly were. I don't know what to say. Like horrendous fires at that time, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Were you? No, the station fire was.
I
later.
was there then, no, but it
Oh,
was
you were.
like I didn't go to that. The guys that did go from Providence, that they retired because of what what they
Right,
saw.
yeah.
Because you know what I mean. But
100 people
yeah.
losing their lives in one night. That's such a tragedy.
I was there when the guy shot the officer in Providence. He jumped out the 3rd floor window after shooting the officer and killing him. You know what I mean? And it's like. It's just, it's actually nonstop. Providence, you don't hear about it and think about it as much, but
No,
there's always something going on there, man.
Yes.
It's a big little city. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
You know?
So I just have had that experience of attending a Sunday protest last weekend. And, it was a really mild protest, I would say. Well, not the topic, the topic was tragic with the loss of this woman who was shot right in the streets by the ICE agent. And so that was the topic, and then we protested and sang and read poems and, consoled one another mostly.
Mm-hmm.
People had signs, it looked like a protest to me. And so we're experiencing that right in Cattunquit, in a little town of our Cattunquit. We're never thinking that we had to do this type of protesting. And here we are at this point in our lives. Now, on that same day, I'm sure other people were shot, right? Not by ICE, but people lost their lives that day across the country, and we have to protest that as well. This is too much gun violence.
No, it's crazy.
And it's. I mean, you saw it. You just suggested that someone shot a police officer and then jumped out of a window. It happened in Providence way too often,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Young people killing each other. So, well, it's just all I wanted to say about that. But have you had the opportunity to, express yourself through protest? If you do, get out there. It's cathartic, I would say, that it gives you the sense that you're doing something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. It's hard to express how you're feeling, or let people know how you're feeling. You're bombarded with so much negativity. You know what I mean? It depends. Like, I don't care if you're listening to WPRO, man, or the talk, whatever. The news, CNN, Fox News. I mean, it's just what's positive out there. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
There's not much positivity. So I guess you got to find it wherever you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's been really fun talking about that stuff. Anything happened with you, Callahan, over the weekend that we should be aware of?
Oh, I had a very quiet weekend. Quiet weekend on my walking pad.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, you can't lose the weight all at once,
No.
right?
Nope,
Last
no.
winter's, this winter's weight. I'm trying to go a day at a time. Joe's going to help me with that. We're going to go. We're going to do this. We're going to do multiple trips around the track. So I'm hoping to do that. But we did see a Harold Pinter play here at the University of Rhode Island. And there was another play, and I don't remember the name of it, but there were 2 plays that we saw. The theater department here is excellent.
Yes, they're very
And
good.
it's inexpensive. And we had a great time. Eva and I came over. And I love Harold Pinter. Now, Pinter is this, if you don't know, he's a playwright. He's dead now, but he was from London, England. And his plays really resonate with me because it's all dialogue back and forth. And you'll see the writing a little bit that's dialogue driven. But Harold Pinter's play The Dumbwaiter, and they did. This university has, I don't know necessarily if they have any accolades, but that play was so well done.
Yeah.
Both actors were perfect with the accent. And that's hard to accomplish. I don't know if they were English or not, but they sounded like they were English. And the acting was superb. They had me the whole time. So kudos.
Yeah, URI's had a real pipeline to, I know they had one student graduate, I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago, Andrew Burnap. He won a Tony Award. He's the first, I think, URI theater grad to immediately go on and win a Tony. And he was in some big movie last year. I can't remember which one, but he's kind of making a mark. And then we had another student who's got like a Netflix original show she's like the star of. So yeah, it's kind of building a pipeline of successful talent and young people.
Sure. Oh, there was a Academy Award winning documentarian before.
Yes,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. So, any new restaurants? You were laying low. Did you go out to the new restaurant this weekend?
I don't eat out much. You know what I mean?
No, that's all right.
I like to cook, and my wife likes to cook, so
Oh,
being a firefighter, you got to cook too,
I'm sure. Yeah, that's right. So you had that experience. That must have been like. It seems like when I see those guys in the market, they're getting like $1,000 worth of food. they got 2 carts.
Well, you live there, actually. You know what I
Right.
mean? People used to say, well, look at it, going to the store, they're eating. But you live there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was in a station that had, 15 guys because there was 3 trucks and a chief there. And, so, when you're cooking in mass quantity,
You must be a good cook. I recently won Blackstone griddle. Like one of these big giant griddles.
Yeah.
Not a grill, but a griddle. What a nice tool that is.
Yeah.
We've been enjoying that. That's been fun for me because, I can cook all the fish outside, and
Yeah.
Eva doesn't give me a hard time about that. And then I also cook a lot of vegetables out there on that thing. And then we did a huge breakfast on it. Like we had a lot of people over, so we did big breakfast. And it was outstanding because you can do 20 pancakes at a time, 15 eggs, good time. So all that said, we're here with Joe Marino and exploring a little bit about your life. And I invite you, Joe, as we go forward here with our little next segment, I invite you to chime in at any time. Tell us another story. It's been really fun already, and it's going to be even more fun. So we're at that section, bubbles. Is it BS or not? So we're going to play the game, Is it BS or not? Do you have a BS or not story for us today?
Not at this moment, I guess.
Well, give it some time. Give it some time.
The Jets are going to the Super Bowl, right?
It's BS. No, I got that one done. So I'll start us off if you want. Or Callahan, are you good?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. A drone was seen presumably filming the recent Catunkwood peaceful protest at the town Memorial Square. James Allen was in attendance, singing and expressing poetry with the group. Gene Mendel of Robbins Drive said that he was concerned that it was a government-sponsored drone used for surveillance purposes. Mendel, a recently retired colonel in the Special Forces and a Catunkwoodtonian Islander, said, "We used that same type of drone in my recent deployment while I was still active, too. Well, I can't say where, but somewhere. Is it BS or not?"
I'm going to say it's not bullshit.
Is the government spying on protests for future retribution?
Well, that I don't know.
All right.
But the drone thing I can definitely see at a protest.
It is bullshit.
Oh.
It is bullshit. So I could have given you a chance to chime in, too. How'd you feel about that?
I thought it might have been true.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't see a drone, but I thought about it. And you know what else I did? while I was there, because there are several buildings that are located that are like multi-story.
Mhm.
I was looking at the top of those buildings.
Yeah.
Now, in my past life, the other life before all of this bullshit that's going on, where people are shooting from high spaces, I don't think about stuff like that.
Yep.
I probably maybe would look for an exit when I'm in the theater, but that's it.
Yeah.
And now, I'm checking the foam on the walls. I'm looking at every element of what's going on. But that is bullshit. Do you have one today for us, Callahan?
I don't, but we can go on.
No, we have another one.
Oh, okay.
All right, here's another one. It's like along the same lines here. Did the president say, "I won the state of Michigan 3 times"? When election results stated he lost Michigan in all of his presidential campaigns. Is it a big yes or not?
I'm going to go with that's probably not BS that he said it.
It's true that he said that.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard him say it. And then,
Wild. Wild stuff. Okay, so we have bubbles. So that's the in-between. We have the music, the waves, and the bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we indicate, and he puts them in.
Yeah.
I like it better when we can plug them in. It's more fun. But anyway, so now we're on to that section of the show where we have to pay the bills. So we have some commercials here and upcoming commercial. And, I hope you find some of these businesses to be of use to you out there in the world. Tell us, contact us at Callahan, what's our...
It's katunkwitchronicles@gmail.com.
Gee, I should know that. That would
That's
be
why you're not.
something
That's
that
why you're not responding to all my emails, James. I thought you just didn't like me anymore.
James Allen forgot the name of the show. Okay, well, it's not like I have a lot of shows, so this is the only one at this time. So our first commercial is from Winter Blues Club. You're going to like this. It starts up on Saturday, January 17th at Molly Stanton's house on the North End. We supply the 8-bar blues, and you improvise the rest. Why fight it? If you can't beat them, join them. Come one, come all, and bring your misery to WBC, that's Winter Blues Club, Saturday at 5 p.m., 29 Millicent Road, Katunkwit. WCBC, that's Winter Blues Club, proudly serves beer, wine, and all of their events, including this month's bluesy beer choice, Marble Mouth, from Stilton Brewery on the mainland. I wonder what Marble Mouth does. It must be a triple.
That's going to be like a
IPA.
14% or something.
Something like that. Yeah. I had a couple of those beers one time, like 12, 11.8 or something. And it's like drinking 4 beers.
Yeah.
One beer.
Yeah.
You drink beer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like IPA or what do you like?
I usually just, I'm a Bud Light guy, man. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's easy.
It is.
I'll have Bud Light. What are you going to have? I'm going to have Bud
Bud
Light.
Light.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I like Miller.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoy Miller High Life, but not
Champagne
drinking much
beers.
of it anymore. Yeah. Keeps me up at night. But the Stilton Breweries come up with this stuff called Marble Mouth, and they're going to have it up the Winter Blues Club. I think it's probably kind of a rogue club, by the way. I don't know if it's sanctioned. They're at a house.
Sounds like a ghost kitchen type thing.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
have a lot of those things in Katunkwit, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, like the pop-up food stations. And anyway, it's not, everybody needs a lemonade stand in their life,
Of
right?
course.
All right, so the next one up is Johnny Muse writes in. This is him writing in. Johnny Muse. You know Johnny Muse, Callahan?
I think I went to high school with Johnny.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I thought he was older than you, but I'm not sure.
He could have stayed back a few years, too.
He could have, right? Yeah. You don't know him, Joe?
No, I don't know.
You don't know anybody.
I know the
You
Muse.
just go over in for the music.
Yeah, I know the Muse Tavern. But
Oh, you know the Muse. Okay. That's a different Muse. All right. I'll buy all your pennies for 2 cents apiece. When asked what he was to do with the pennies, he said, I figure if the government says it takes 4 cents to make a penny, that's worth a penny. I'll buy 'em for 2 cents and make a couple of cents each. Call Johnny Muse, he says. Everyone knows my number. That's all he gave us. He said he wants pennies. He's going to turn them into 4 cents somehow. But I have some news for you, Johnny. The reason it costs 4 cents, it's the production and putting the paper around the things and all the things it takes to make a penny. It's 4 cents. You don't get. It's not the value of the copper.
Maybe he's holding on to them for like 100 years, and he'll sell them for 4 cents a piece or something like that.
I don't know.
He could be collecting.
He's your classmate.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a. I don't like to say this, but it's not the best idea.
No, I don't think so.
But that's not a very good way to.
It wouldn't be a good investment anyway, even if he's holding on to them.
No, bring your pennies over to Johnny Muse and just amuse him.
Yeah.
All Things Protest is a new business that just opened on Katunkwit, Maine. Lots of things about protest today, right? All Things Protest, new business that just opened on Katunkwit, Maine, next to the fire station. There he is, Joe, next to the fire station. We have it all. Clever signs, rage signs, flags of all types, rainbow flags, and we have a make-your-own flag option where you design your flag at our computer design station, and within 3 minutes your flag or sign is complete. Says Coleman Tracer, owner of All Things Protest. Not a bad idea in the current environment. Like he's picking up on something that they're laying down. All right, so here's another real interesting business. We Sell Bread and Milk. That's the name of the business. It's a new store focusing on basic daily necessities. We Sell Bread and Milk is the place to get whole milk, unpasteurized, unhomogenized, pure milk from the udder. Ooh. And the quote is, "We suck every day," says Milton Oakes of Greenham Farm, where WSBMS, that's We Sell Bread and Milk, raw milk products originate. We have bread and milk, bread and butter, bread and milk and butter. Sit down on our comfortable milk stools and enjoy fresh homemade bread made from wheat and chaff grown right here in Katunkwit.
Wow.
That's good. Located next to the packaged chip shop on North Main, next to library. Come on down and experience the touch and feel necessary to pull on some teats with our udder simulator. Oh, yeah. That's
high
interesting.
tech.
Pulling on teats. I'm sorry. It's everything about the experience of milking a cow without getting kicked in the head and becoming brain dead, says Milton Oakes, owner and proprietor of We Sell Bread and Milk. Opens daily from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, you think the business is investable, guys? I don't know.
I drink almond milk, so
I'm on to soy milk.
Okay.
I was on oat milk. My daughter said soy milk is less processed. So the less processed food I eat, the better.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed that this business, We Sell Bread and Milk, and it seems like the bread is made, it's all kind of natural stuff, right? It's not the best thing to do to not have not pasteurized milk, by the way. I'm not advocating that. Homogenization, that's just mixing it up. However, make sure that your milk has been pasteurized, I would say. But maybe Milton knows something better than I do. And it's coming right from the teats.
yeah, no.
I don't know.
I'm out on that, man.
I stay with my Bud Light. There's a new message out here from, let's see, who's it from? We'll find out in a minute. Mr. Cash. Gold doubloons are washing up on a small beach nestled in the rocks adjacent to the entrance to Rat Tail's Hollow Park. News, right? The beach can only be accessed during low tide. It's very difficult to reach, requiring some very significant climbing skills, says local anthropologist and historian Maximilian Cash. When asked how many coins he had found, Mr. Cash said, all of them. Asked what the value of this haul was, Cash said, let's put it this way. I won't be washing out Ziploc bags and drying them anymore, Mr. Cash presumes. He found the until recently unfound treasure of Captain Kidd. who was hanged in Newport and thought to have buried treasure on the island of Katunquit. It's exciting, huh? I'm too old to go swimming over there, but and climbing. I don't know, Joe. You think you go climbing down some rocks now?
No, I'm done with that.
Yeah, I know. There's some things I don't think I can do anymore, right?
There's a bunch of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's a whole bunch of things that I'm not doing. Like
I was telling my wife one time, I said, when the older you get, there's a series of things that you used to do that you can't or won't do anymore. And, I can remember I was playing softball, right? And I do everything kind of the hard way, So it was like...
Me too.
So a ball came to me, and I was running, to get it, and I dove for it. And, I had a cramp in my hamstring, right? Pulled my hamstring. I said, you know what? That's it. I hang my cleats up for softball or anything like that. You know what I mean? You just can't do it anymore,
I know. The recovery is it's not like it was, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're 25 and you get a hamstring, you recover in a week.
Yeah.
That's months, and it's purple. The hamstring tear, you wouldn't get purple.
Yeah.
But now, I fell down on the ice the other day. I was skating over here at the university, and I fell down, because I was trying to hockey stop. Got into my heels and went down. The blue, the purple, there's multiple. It looks like a rainbow in the back gas here. It's unbelievable. And then I noticed this left side, because I fell on the left side, and I thought, well, in fact, Eva asked me, she said, well, what's the worst thing that could happen to us? I said, well, we could break a hip. And sure enough, I almost did. So I'm just washing up, having a shower, and I look over my right side, and there's a big blue spot here too. So man, it's something.
Yeah.
You can't do some of the things you could do. Like yesterday, I went for a walk. You weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get you out. So I'm down at Fort Perry, and I'm doing a walk, and I'm walking down on a beach, and then it becomes rocks, and I said, well, I can walk these rocks, right? So I said, well, my goal will be to walk, on the rocks for a significant period of time. See if I can go all the way around, right? I came to a spot, and it required me going down maybe 4 feet, and just hopping down 4 feet. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Because, it's like jumping. Jumping used to be nothing, right? I mean, jump, sprint, jump. But landing is a bitch.
Yeah.
The jumping's not a problem, but the landing's a bitch. So that's all we have for our commercials today. So we are into our music, our waves, and our bubbles. So as we do always, we have a special story a story or some poetry or something of that sort. But today, I created a story, and this story it's about old guys, and Callahan's not old, by the way. He's a young man,
Old at heart.
But Joe and I are, of over 65, let's just say that. And I play, as a lot of the listeners know, I play golf with a bunch of guys from the septuagenarian and octogenarian and whatever nine is.
Ninagenarians.
And, I have to say, the ninagenarians, he keeps winning. But that's all I do. We play golf, which is great. I mean, and then we have, luncheons and stuff like that. And one of the fellows is always trying to get us to do other things, right? Mm-hmm. So in this case, you'll see what happens. It's called Hoboken Holdovers. And you know who was from Hoboken, right?
Who, Frank Sinatra?
Oh, yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I thought so.
Nice call. All right, so I'm going to do half the story, and then we're going to talk about it, because it's a longer story.
Okay.
So this story is titled Hoboken Holdovers. And there's a lot of me in this one because the principal character is named James. James made a habit of setting up his laptop at the visitor center at the local state university. He likes the solitude of being invisible in a crowd. He feels more and more invisible as he ages, particularly in a university setting with the average age of the students garnering their free cup of coffee and a free highly processed energy bar is 20 years. James works to find ways to enter into conversation, offering space at the crowded table or by commenting about the weather, which only results in an insular, self-directed phone inquiry on the part of the prospect as she or he dives into their weather app. As obvious avoidance methodology takes over, as it's a well-developed sixth sense. It's a challenge to even get even the first bit of conversation going for James. A naturally friendly individual, James seeks connection in everything he does. He's been playing golf in, as he calls it, an old man's league, even though James is only 65. The other members of the group are old businessmen that retired 15 years earlier, and through neighborhood connections in Providence, where they all grew up, find their way to the golf course once weekly to play a round of golf, bet on results, and share camaraderie. James is the new guy. James is kind of quirky and often saying things and doing things that keeps the group off balance. But he's been accepted for these qualities, almost revered. You still making that podcast thing about our town? Mickey Disitano, the guy they call Diz after Walt Disney, asks. Diz is always asking James about his creative side because of all the businessmen in the golf group and teachers and other things. Mickey Diz loves to draw, and he spent his life illustrating advertising copy. Yeah, we are. My partner and I are up to 61 episodes. Well, 62 now today, James says enthusiastically. What's that partner shit? You gay? Marco Quattromoni asks. His podcast partner, you stupid bastard, Jerry Cole says, the only member of the group of Irish descent. What about me? Can I come on your podcast with your partner? Marco asks. I could have you on the show. Sure, Marco. What do you talk about? Your years of being a security guard in Providence and living with your parents until they died? James asks. That's a little too much. Knock it off. No politics or personal stuff here in this league, Robert states, as he's the older statesman of the organization, determines winners and losers, where the group will meet each week, and he even organizes special events. Marjorie is always encouraging me to get out of the house and do stuff. Why don't we ever do anything exciting? Tony and Ciprio announces out of the blue. Robert booked that trip to see the Celtics. Not even half of us went, Marco interjects. It was a little pricey for me. I'm on a fixed income. Maria gives me an allowance that doesn't include the Celtics, Tony Stanzione divulges. Yeah, me too, Marco responds. I know what you mean. Lou Basmonte, who they call Cut because he was a butcher his whole life, agrees. What if we do something creative, James states. Sure, creative. We'll all sing and dance together, Marco says. Why not? We could practice. Timo, you could sing, and we're all in decent shape for guys in our, over 65, James says. Oh, 65 years, right. 65 was 3 decades ago for Johnny P., Eugene Concetto, whose mother is actually Polish and named him Eugene, which the group rejected from the time of the grade school and who they affectionately call pierogi, after the potato-filled Polish staple food announces. The older we are, the less the audience expects us to do anything entertaining, James says. What do you have in mind? Robert asks with a hint of curiosity mixed into his reply. Anyone know what a flash mob is? James asks. Anyone? James waits for a reply, but most of the guys that heard him that aren't already deaf are just shaking their heads. Why don't you tell us? Robert states quietly, so even less of the group can hear him. A flash mob is seemingly spontaneous, often involving music and dance. It's a choreographed event that overwhelms a crowd space for a performance, and just as quickly and suddenly as it begins, it ends. You can see them on YouTube. It's amazing. I want us to start practicing, then we'll go to the visitor center at State U where all these students congregate. We'd begin by having our meetings there. They have free coffee and cider. Why not? James states with joy and enthusiasm. Judge Scipio stands. He fixes his sweater and rolls his shoulders to loosen up, and he states, "You know, I sat on the bench at family court for 40 years, and I've seen some difficult and disturbing situations in my years. I've always led a somewhat conservative and reserved lifestyle. I think that James may be onto something here. I'm offering my barn for practice. You all know where I live. We can get there in 10 minutes. Even you, Marco, living over in North Kingstown. I'll provide a catered lunch for the practices, too. How many practices do you think we need to pull this off?" the judge asks, directing his questions to James. "Did you say free lunch? What kind of food will it be?" Lou asks. "'Cause I got some connections down the market, and I can get some beef tips or sirloin for nothing." I'm not dancing. I'm 93 years old. Count me out," Johnny P. says. "Some people can just sing," James says. "I'm not singing either," Johnny P. announces. "You could be the announcer, like a narrator. We'll need a narrator. You're always telling stories after golf. You can be the narrator," James says. "Okay, the narrator, but I'm not singing," Johnny assures the group. "I don't know. It might be fun. Better than watching Andy Griffith reruns," Busmonte states. "Yeah, we can't golf every day," Pierogi announces. "I'm not doing it. Count me out," Benny says and nervously leaves the clubhouse. "What's wrong with him?" Timo asks. "Not everyone's comfortable getting up in front of people and performing," Robert states while handing out today's golf winnings to the first and second place winners. "So we're golfing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I expect everyone tomorrow, Wednesday, 9 a.m. at the university for recon. It'll be busy in the morning. I'll bring Allie's Donuts, and they have free coffee there, so just bring yourself on time," James announces. "Do they have decaf?" Marco asks. Everything they have it all. It'll just be there, and we plan it all on Wednesday. Practice Friday at Judge Scipio's, and by following Friday, we'll be flash mobbing at the University Welcome Center," James declares. "That's not enough time," the judge speculates. "I mean, we'll see, right? We'll just see, okay?" James responds. "We will see," the judge states. "And if it don't work out, we get free coffee and donuts, free steaks at the judge's barn, and a few laughs," Tony Stanzione says. "I'm going to be the narrator, and as the elder statesman and narrator, I will determine who gets the biggest steaks," Johnny P. adds. Robert stands and says, "Are we all square for today? I have an extra $1 here. Who didn't get their $1? "Put it in the poor box at church," Busmonte suggests. "Thank you, gentlemen. We're apparently having a flash mob meeting tomorrow, so go home and get your rest," Robert directs. "We're having steak tomorrow for breakfast, right?" Freddie Cannoli, who often turns down his hearing aids while playing golf, asks. "Steak on Friday, coffee and donuts tomorrow," Robert states. "Somebody's sitting over near Freddie. Tell him what I said," Robert continues. So you get the gist of it. We're in the middle here. We're going to have a little break and talk about what we're hearing. So is this anything like your experience? And I'm not talking to Callahan because Callahan's only experience over there is with students who were actually his age. But you get in a group like this and nobody can hear anything, right? and nobody's doing anything other than what they do every day. Mm-hmm. You know. Do you have any experiences like that?
Pretty much. Only to be honest with you, when I get together with old guys that I went to college with, you know what I mean? And we got together.
A lot of illness.
Well, getting through illnesses and stuff, you know what I mean? And just experiencing life, I guess. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
rehashing old times and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot about that. And getting, like, as a person that's aging, like now, getting out of that monotony of doing the same things over and over and over. Wake up, do this, this, and this. Some of that's important and has to happen. And some of it you need to just reject, because that's what can make us old, right? So these guys are going to do something about it, apparently. Let's see. The visitor center is mobbed by students studying, drinking coffee, talking amongst each other, when most of the group arrives. Amongst the group are visiting prospective students and their parents, faculty and staff, and undergraduate and graduate students, all gathered in the space. James walks into the building 15 minutes early with 24 Alley's donuts. The guys are all seated around a high-top table dominating the space, speaking way too loudly, and adding to their boisterous behavior by using their hands demonstratively while slurping hot coffee. Timo announces sarcastically, "Here he is. Come any time you'd like, James." "I'm not late. 15 minutes early," James says. "Johnny P. and Steve got here while they were opening the doors at 8 a.m., Basmonti reveals. "For the record, I'm not late," James says. Anyone come in with Allie's Donuts ain't late in my book," Marco says while opening the box and taking a maple glazed sugar bomb and biting it before taking a napkin. "Ain't on my diet, but once in a while," he says while grabbing a plain donut with the other hand as the students look on jealously. He turns to the next table of filled students looking and says, "If I get a plain donut, it balances off the sugar, you see?" he states while circling his belly with his now empty right hand, having eaten the maple glazed in 2 bites and swallowed it sufficiently to make others seated at the next table aware of his misguided dietary plan. The students just shake their heads, eyebrows scrunched, expressing concern, as Marco spins his hand over his round belly. "Marco, is that how you get your fiber?" James asks as Marco sits down and the others reach for all their favorite donuts. In minutes, the group has had their fill of sugary pastry, and Mickey Desitano, Diz, who doesn't eat donuts, lifts the box and approaches 3 female students seated at a small table. Diz is in great shape for his 80-plus years, moving nimbly over to the 3 women with confidence. "Would you gals like to have an Allie's donut?" Diz asks. "Gals? Gals? Janine, did he say gals? How cute is that?" the students say to Janine. "Take whichever one you want. The other guys over there, they can't eat no more," Diz declares. "Any," the one called Janine says with a smirk at Diz, as Diz brows crinkle with concern. "You can have any of the donuts," Diz states, emphasizing the word any. "No, I meant your group can't eat any more," the student called Janine states, as the other 2 smile and one of the 2 says, "We don't eat no donuts, old man," as all the 3 women laugh while one of them lifts the box, handing it to Diz. "Your loss," Diz says, before handing off the box to a table of 6 guys at the next high top that have been watching the donuts box since its arrival. Diz returns to the table and says, "Snotty girls." "They're called women here. They're in college," Enzo Mascarpone, who doesn't play golf but who Timo sings with in a choir, states boldly for a guy that isn't even a member of the golf group. "Fellas, for your edification, we're in a non-binary zone, which means attributing gender, either female or male, to a person in this environment is offensive and a presumption of gender," James edifies the group. "Is this that they thing that you're talking about?" Basmati asks. "Yes, better to just not engage in a gender-based discussion or use gender as an identifier. That's all," James clarifies. "They, her, she wants to be called they?" Timo asks. "Judge, you getting all this? Can you believe it?" Timo finishes. "It's the law, Timo," the judge says. Let's talk about whatever we came in here for. I'm picking weeds at the community farm this afternoon. I want to be fresh for that, Robert announces. James hands every member of the group a map of the facility, including the main room, the lecture hall, and even the restrooms. This is good in case I got to go to the bat room, Freddie Cannoli says, way too loud because he hasn't adjusted his hearing aids. James stands and hovers over the map. There are 4 areas where we can operate in while we're here in the main hall. We have some of us entering from the restroom, some from the lecture hallway, some from the corner site here, and 3 of us from the front doorway. Basmati yells, "Pierogi and I will come from the bathroom because we're pissing every 10 minutes." "I'm in that group," Timo and Enzo yell out simultaneously. "That's most of us," James states. "I could do Sinatra or Elvis," Timo says. "I was thinking Sinatra, maybe New York," Robert chimes in. "Why not Yankee Doodle Dandy, Robert? You're a diehard Yankee fan." No, but New York. Yeah, New York. We all know the song. And it won't need too much dancing, Robert suggests. "I like what you're thinking. We can add some sweeping arms, some dynamic movement." Well, dynamic for us. "And Freddie, you can play the trumpet as we enter, like some Dixieland jazz maybe, as we come in, and that will begin the whole flash mob," James says. "So the students are all working and we interrupt them with an old Sinatra song and a loud trumpet," Pierogi theorizes. I love it. Okay, finish up your coffee. Next meeting after golf on Thursday, and we're all set, Judge, for the practice on Friday. How about 10 a.m. with dinner at noon? Someone's bringing steaks? James asks. Marco yells out, "I'll bring some baked ziti." We're all set at the house. We can grill. It's all the steaks in the yard and eat on the screened porch, Judge announces. "What are we going to call this? Maybe Operation Hoboken?" "Why Hoboken?" Enzo asks. "Sinatra was born there. Come on. This is going to be fun. I mean, what else are we going to do?" Marco says. On Thursday after golf, James passes out folders with everyone's roles, including Johnny P's announcement. "I give you the Hoboken Holdovers. You're going to be great, Johnny. I know you are." Hal Krozik, whose mother was Italian with the last name of Merlino, and his father was a Russian refugee, encourages Johnny P., who smiles from the first time in years. The guys can hardly play golf. They're so excited. "Make sure you bring your folders to Friday's rehearsal at the judge's house. Don't forget," James reminds the group. "Freddie, bring your trumpet." "I can play clarinet. Well, I used to be able to play," Marty Ziglio says shyly. "Bring it. Anyone else play any instrument?" James asks. "Snare drum. I'm in the St. Augustus marching band," Luigi Ventrone says, while exiting the men's room. "Get some rest. See you all tomorrow," James announces. "Get some rest. See you all tomorrow," Marco repeats. Friday, everyone's a full half hour early, but 3 guys forget their paperwork and 4 guys forget their hearing aids. James comes prepared with extra paperwork, and the fellas with hearing aids share with those that don't have theirs. Everything goes smoothly in practice after 4 run-throughs. Most of the guys are just moving and waving their arms, while Timo and Enzo are center stage near the modern couches, leading the singing and dancing as they sing. Enzo's a better dancer, while Timo sounds like Sinatra. It goes so well that James declares the group to be ready and states the Hoboken Holdovers will make their debut on Monday instead of Friday. Everyone cheers loudly. And Johnny P's steak is tough, but Basmati shares some of his steak, and Johnny gets over the disappointment. Stanzione can't eat steak, so the judge grills up a piece of swordfish. Everyone's fat and happy. Okay, I'm bringing donuts again. Same gig. We arrive early, just like last time. Have your props, your flags, your horns, your wigs with you, but concealed. I'll be there with the donuts at 8:45. We'll eat, disperse quietly to the corners of the room to our assigned spots, and exactly 9:30 a.m., Hoboken Holdovers will make a grand entrance. Got it? We'll do a watch check at 9:20 a.m. My Maggie will be filming from the second floor. See you Monday. The day is dreary and cool, the air heavy and damp as James walks across the visitor parking lot with the donuts. 3 campus security guard vehicles are running and parked in the handicapped parking area. James thinks of the cops and remembers he has donuts. And whenever he sees flashing lights these days, he wonders if he's next. He bought 4 dozen this time. He arrives and only Tony Stanzioni eats one. Everyone else is too nervous. They aren't even drinking coffee. James notices 3 of 4 cops conferring with the front desk personnel, while the 4th is filling coffee cups. The room is buzzing, filled with students talking, studying, and arranging themselves in advance of University Students' Day. The students seem agitated, a bit upset, perhaps by the presence of the police after a recent shooting in a nearby Ivy League university, James notes. And he wonders if he should have included an abort signal, like a flag waving or a loud cough. But he figures he can't worry about that now, as time approaches. Each of you take a donut, James insists while holding the open box with one hand. It'll hamper my creativity, Diz announces as he spins in place like Tom Jones. Yeah, it ain't good. Could mess up my balance, Johnny P. says in his announcer's voice to the guys. It's 9:20. Does everyone have 9:20 on their watches? James asks while tapping the top of his watch face. I don't have a watch. But I'll look at Ziglio's. Okay, this is it. Go to your places. My wife's filming up top. She came early. James, look up to the second floor and waves. James looks up to the second floor and waves. Check change. Okay. Go time, fellas. We are the great Hoboken Holdovers. The cops exit the visitor center, passing Johnny P., who's waiting in the foyer, and then Mill outside. At exactly 9:30 a.m., Johnny P. comes dancing through the front door. The dancing, he added, and he sings aloud, Ladies and gentlemen, thems and theys, men and women, students and faculty, I give you the Hoboken Holdovers this day. The trumpet and clarinet start to play as our guys move through the space. Those that can, dancing, and then others waving Italian flags. The judge wears a black leather biker's jacket that says Hell's Angels on the back. Timo's wearing a black tuxedo jacket that he was wearing beneath his golfing pullover, and he starts in. Start spreading the news, I'm leaving today. The rest of the choir carries the next part in unison. I want to be a part of it in old New York. Johnny Kronzik gets on the table as planned as the trumpets bellow. The students seem shocked and withdraw to the edges of the room, filming the whole production, afraid to smile, unsure of what's next. James notices as he sings and wonders if they are awaiting gunfire next. James stops singing when he sees the cops toss their coffee cups and rush into the facility, guns drawn. Most of the singing stops, but Timo and Enzo continue as they're so far into their characters. They don't recognize the cops' entrance. Everyone on the floor, hands out, on the floor. The Hoboken Holdovers struggle to get on the floor. How the fuck am I going to get up? Marco asks Cut and Diz, who are lying next to him. What's going on here? The lead campus police officer asked the woman at the front desk, cowering in her seat. I don't know, the woman answers. I can answer that. It's all my fault, James answers while lifting his head from the cold marble floor. It's a flash mob event. We're the Hoboken Holdovers. We're entertaining. Janine gets up off the floor holding her cell phone and says, They're just singing and dancing. What the fuck? Yeah. What the fuck? Let them sing, Janine's friends say. I think they're cute. The other member of the Janine's group announces, And then a couple of guys perk up, attempting to sit up to see who is complimenting them. The guys stand, and the students stand up while the cops remain confused, still holding their guns but unsure what to do next. "Why don't you just leave?" Janine says as she motions to the students and faculty to follow her lead as the whole crowd chants, "Let them sing! Let them sing! Let them sing!" And the police officers leave the building. James walks outside with a dozen donuts and talks to them. Johnny P. stands in. "Let's take it from the top. This time, all together." Janine nods to the group at her table, then to the crowd while lifting her hands. Johnny P. starts it off. "Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it in old New York. I want to wake up in the city that doesn't sleep, where I am king of the hill, top of the heap, a number one. These little town blues are melting away." The last words sung and the flags put away. Marco and Freddie and Robert hand out donuts as they visit with the crowd. Basmonte says, "This was the best thing I ever did in my whole life." While walking to their cars, everyone agrees. "I'll see you tomorrow at the golf course," Robert says with a smile, and everyone nods. And that's the end. So there we have it. The Hoboken Holdovers. Yeah. And in this time, like, a flash mob, it occurred to me that a flash mob could be a catalyst for misunderstanding, you know, because it's out of the ordinary. And now with all the heightened issues and people on edge about shootings and ICE and other things, this occurred to me that this might happen. But I don't know. Here I am talking. I want to hear your impressions.
I love the fact that they decided to do something that wasn't necessarily up their alley, but they all decided to get into it, and they kind of made it their own. It just took that little spurring from the top. We got to do something different. We got to do something different, and they all kind of came together and did that.
Yeah. I think that's what change, I guess, is about. When you're older, and I think sometimes you're kind of reluctant to do different things. Like these guys some guys wanted to sing, these guys didn't want to sing, and this guy just
showed up with the Hells Angels thing.
Well, I'm going to give you an example too, and it's even more present. I could have walked by you, and you could have walked by me, and we could have walked by each other for like 12 laps, and not ever gotten to know each other. And the little bit that we do, but I participate in a lot more walks and discussions and friendship. And that's what changing, like, even your route home today. Mm-hmm. You go one way, but you go a different way, and something else happens that could change the way you feel about something. And that's so true about life, that we need to find ways to get out of the ordinary and get into the new and always engage ourselves. And I think it was brave of you today to come here today and be a part of this, and I appreciate it. Because, like, you don't know me really, like, a little bit about me and whatever you Googled maybe. And then this is like probably a new experience. Have you done any radio?
No.
No, but you're good at it, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, we'll have you back another time for more discussions. But the idea of doing something different and challenging yourself a little bit is really what we need to do as human beings.
Yeah.
Like, we need I have always said this, we really need to live full lives.
Well, you know what it is, too. I think the older you get set in your ways. Mm-hmm. But sometimes being set in your ways is what we talked about before, is what physically maybe you can't do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like what you used to, like you golf and, I don't golf, but I've tried to play pickleball, and used to play racquetball, and even after football, I played rugby for a while.
You're out there doing stuff,
I was
trying.
doing stuff. So as life goes on, the less you, I can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore. The list gets longer on things you can't do. So you kind of just say, well, I'll just do this, right? And I think you get afraid to do other things that you can do.
I think it's so true, but now maybe my, things I used to be very active physically. I was playing soccer till I was 60, somewhat competitively for a 60-year-old, and suffering a lot. But then it was sort of a transformation for me to a more creative side, and getting that brain, that memory muscle, all the muscles in the brain working, if there's such a thing as a muscle in the brain. Hopefully it's not too much muscle in my brain, but using that side of my brain more effectively. And it's been, with pretty good results. So I'm psyched about it. So I noticed the Callahan's looking at his watch, so we're probably way over. But I wanted to say thank you to our guest.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
And to our co-host today, Callahan, who jumped right in there and got it done.
Happy to be here, as always.
And thank you for putting up with me for this last bit of time here. It was a lot of fun. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the story?
Good,
or
man,
anything?
thanks.
I think it's like one thing that I was thinking about the whole time was, like you said, it's when you do something the same way, it's like a muscle that you just keep building and building and building. And then when you try something new, it's like finding a whole new muscle group to start training and, getting that active. And I found that myself.
The example is that I parked at the visitor center, and I said, well, I could walk by or go in. So I went in and, had the coffee, and then I envisioned it, and I've been in there when it's been busy. Because there's nobody in there now, because we're middle semester. But this vision came to me, right?
Yeah.
How could this space be transformed into a creative space and knock people out of their ordinary? Like, Janine's reaction was to protect the men, even though she was kind of snotty to them earlier.
Yep.
And I think that people get transformed. So her world needed transformation, too. And the music was one thing, but defending the older men was even more of a transformation for her. So that's where the story went. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you being here. We're going to say goodbye, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right. Exit. Hey, Joe, be careful walking through the doorway.
Yeah, I will, man.
I don't want you to hit your head.
I'm used to ducking.
I'll see you guys.